Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Afa. So guys, I've had a nice time in Burkina Faso. I was in Burkina Faso for about 2 weeks, and one of the popular questions I've been getting from a lot of people about Burkina Faso is about how to relocate to Burkina Faso. I've had numerous questions about that, and I thought to address that in this video. So this video is for those that want to either visit, relocate, or for any reason come to Burkina Faso. I'm going to be telling you the steps on how to go about it. Depending on what part of the world you're coming from, whether in Africa, Europe, America, I'm going to be laying it out very clear. I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about, visas, entry, and basically settling down in Burkina Faso. So if you don't want to miss it, please watch this video to the end so that you get every bit of information that I have to share. Let me find somewhere to sit down so that I can communicate better. So please subscribe to this channel, like this video, share, leave a comment below. Yeah, firstly, I know Burkina Faso is not the typical country that people will go to. It's not usually the first country that you think about when it comes to relocating. Usually people go to the US, go to Canada, go to Europe and other parts of the world. Burkina Faso, even in Africa, is not one of those countries where people typically go to. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I've gotten tons of messages about how to relocate to Burkina Faso. And the reason is not separated from what is currently happening in Burkina Faso. There's a lot of news coming out from Burkina Faso about the current president of Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traore, and his economic and infrastructural development in the country. I'm sure you've seen tons of videos about it, and you've seen a lot of people also go to Burkina Faso to see for themselves. I'm one of those people. I went to Burkina Faso. I stayed for about almost 2 weeks in Burkina Faso. So I'm in a very good position to give you first-hand information about, Burkina Faso. So basically, Burkina Faso is a small country. It's a small landlocked country bordered by, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Mali, and I think one other country in the north of Burkina Faso, which I can't remember now. And it's the country of, Thomas Sankara. For some of you that have heard about Thomas Sankara, he was a former leader of Burkina Faso that fought for, Burkina Faso in the best way he could. So the current president, Ibrahim Traore, is seen by a lot of Burkinabe as Thomas Sankara reincarnated. Also, Burkina Faso is a very country rich in culture, one of the cheapest countries to live in. So you might be going there for whatever reason, ranging from work, volunteering, business, or what have you. So please watch this video to the end. To come to Burkina Faso, you definitely need a visa, especially if you're coming from countries outside of the West African region. For people in West Africa, countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, all the West African countries, you can enter Burkina Faso with your ECOWAS passport. Once you get to any of the borders, you're going to be granted access and your passport is going to be stamped. But if you're coming outside of West Africa, you definitely need to go to a Burkina Faso embassy or consulate in your country, you understand, to get a visa. If you don't have a consulate in your country, what you have to do is Burkina Faso also offers visa on arrival. So you can fly into Burkina Faso either to the capital city of Ouagadougou or Bobo Dioulasso. I think that's how it's pronounced. And you will get a visa on arrival. I think the visa costs around $100 for a 30 days visa. You understand? So if you come in and you now want to extend, then you can follow the process while you're in the country. But first, you need to enter. So be ready with your $100, or it could be more. I don't know. It could change at any moment. You understand? When you get to the airport, they will grant you visa at the point of entry. So if you're relocating to Burkina Faso, meaning that if you want to stay long term in Burkina Faso, not just to visit, then like I said, when you get into the country, you can now start applying for residency. You understand? There are a lot of things you need to enable to get a residency in Burkina Faso. health clearance, and sometimes a police report. These are some of the things that you will need to become a resident in Burkina Faso. It's also very important to make sure that your international passport is valid for at least 6 months when you're coming into Burkina Faso. Very important. So here are some things you would need when you're visiting Burkina Faso. Number one is vaccination. You need your yellow fever vaccination card. Very important. You will definitely need a proof of it at the airport before you enter the country. You also need a hepatitis A and B shots. It might not be compulsory, but I think it's important that you have it. Probably you also need typhoid and meningitis test. These are some of the things you need to enter Burkina Faso. So if you're coming to Burkina Faso, it's important that you come with money. Personally, when I travel to countries, I always make sure I hold maybe dollars or whatever currency. So Burkina Faso uses the CFA, the same currency that is used in a lot of French West African countries like Benin, Togo, Ghana, I think Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, and even Guinea-Bissau also uses CFA, even though it's not a French country. So I would advise you come with dollars or any foreign currency like dollars, pounds, euros, or what have you. You understand? But in case you didn't come with any currency, you can always withdraw money from the ATMs in Burkina Faso. Of course with charges, which is why I said it's important you come with your cash. So when you come into Burkina Faso, the first thing you do, recommended you do it at the airport or in any of the land borders, is you get a SIM card. You understand? I think you should be aware that when you're going to a new country, the first thing you do is to, get a SIM card and, load it with airtime and internet. So secondly, you can get accommodation online. You can get it on platforms like Airbnb, Booking.com. Accommodations are available on those platforms especially in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso. But if you're staying long term, obviously you're going to get an accommodation, and then you can now, either rent a house or buy a house if that's what you want. But it's important to note that Burkina Faso is one of the cheapest countries in Africa. So especially if you're coming from the West, it's not going to be that expensive for you. You understand? It's going to be cheap, for you if you're coming from the West. It also depends on the part of Ouagadougou you're staying. If you're staying in a place called Ouaga 2000, which is like the place which is like where the rich people in Burkina Faso live. That's where you have some embassies and a lot of foreigners live in those places. Obviously, it's going to be more expensive, but nowhere as expensive as it is in the West or wherever you're coming from. That's if you're coming from America, Europe, and other developed climes. To be honest, in Burkina Faso, you can actually live with $100 to $500 in a month. You understand? Like, it's actually very possible. Obviously, it depends on your how you live. You understand? But I think on the average, anywhere from $100 to $500 is fine, and this includes accommodation, feeding. You understand, and miscellaneous. You understand? Burkina Faso is actually that affordable. So people have also asked me about how safe Burkina Faso is. Obviously, because Burkina Faso, the current president got into power through a coup. The country is not 100% safe, but most of the issues in the country are usually in the northern region, which I don't think you're going to be, going to anyways. But if you're in the city, if you're in Ouagadougou or Bobo Dioulasso, you understand, the country is pretty safe. I felt very safe while I was there. I didn't have any issue. The only issue I had, personally, I didn't have that issue, but based on what happened to other people, is the fact that, you're not really, they are not camera friendly in Burkina Faso. So just be careful with how you, take pictures and all that. But apart from that, it's fine. Everywhere is safe. I didn't have any, in fact, that's one of the safest I've been, in my life. So I don't think safety is going to be a problem in Burkina Faso. So guys, that's your quick guide to relocating to Burkina Faso. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share this video to your friends and families and people that will be interested in moving to Burkina Faso. Also, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me your plans about moving to Burkina Faso. What do you think about the country? What do you think about what the president is doing? Let me know in the comment section. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. That will be all for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Thank you.